Hello friends. So today our little adventure is taking me to Fort Washita near Durant, Oklahoma in southern Oklahoma. This fort was once a beautiful fort during the Civil War, and it was also a fort that helped protect the Indians. And it's just a beautiful fort, as you can tell. And I've done some videos on Fort Washita before, but what I want to show you today is couple of the cemeteries that are here at Fort Washita. So come along and let me show you around the cemeteries. So it's too hot to walk down to the first cemetery, so I'm driving, but I wanted to show you the pretty view down the hill at Fort Washita. And the grass looks great because we just had some rain. So it's just beautiful out here, very peaceful. This fort has so much beautiful history, and we've had some great events coming up at Fort Washita. In October, we have the ghost stories. We have a couple World War I and World War II reenactments coming up here at Fort Washita. We also have a Christmas special coming up on December the 3rd, I believe. Of course, every spring we have the big rendezvous. Fur Traders Rendezvous, which I have taken videos before of that, and if you look back through my history, you'll find those videos. But yeah, they keep this ground looking very beautiful. So we're heading down to the Confederate Cemetery. So there are two cemeteries here. There are two cemeteries here at Fort Washita. One of them is the Confederate Cemetery, and one is a private family cemetery. So we are here at the Confederate Cemetery on Fort Washita. So yeah, I'll get out and show you a little bit around the cemetery. As you get out here where the Confederate Cemetery is, you'll see that if you take this line down over this cute bridge, you'll head to the stables here. I have only been down this one time, but this down here will take you down to I think it's a Government Springs. So yeah, it's a fun walk. I don't know if I would do it by myself, but I have done it. Do you hear that? You know, this is very haunted. Could be a deer though. Definitely got some wildlife around here. But this is the Confederate Cemetery. Now this houses 200 unknown Confederate soldiers. Probably should have went in down there. So yeah, so let's go in and look around. Our little trail down to the Government Springs, which is down on a really pretty little river down there. We're walking up on the first. There are a few graves that are marked here, even though it's 200 unknown Confederate soldiers. But here's one of them. He was born in 1831, died in 1886. So, yeah. But this is known to have a lot of paranormal activities, and I know that during the ghost stories out here every October, they have caught some really great spirits and crazy photos out here at this Confederate Cemetery. This is a monument to the unknown soldier of the Confederate States of America. Like I said, there's two cemeteries here. This is the Confederate, and we have a private cemetery, which I'm going to go show you next. But there's a view from inside the cemetery. So apparently there are 200 Confederate soldiers that are buried here, but unknown. So the trees are pretty. These trees have been here a long, long time. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So as I get ready to take the drive back up the hill to the next cemetery, I wanted to tell you that I have been a part of this fort for well over 20 years probably. When I first started coming out here, I just came out as a history buff, and I took the Ghost Stories tour, and every year since then I've been doing the ghost stories. And then probably about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer than that, I started volunteering with the volunteer group out here, which has been great because I've met a lot of great friends and just amazing people. I got to talk earlier to a lady that goes to our group, whose grandmother, no, wait a minute. Yeah, her grandparents used to be the caretakers of this property back. I'm sorry, I hate to turn on the air conditioning because it's noisy, but it's hot. So she used to be the caretaker for out here and lived in the house that now is the museum that they have here. And she loves to tell stories about it. And she was telling us today again about which rooms were the kitchen, that in the summer it was so hot they would take their mattresses and sleep on the front porch, and that most of the grass around here that you can see even in this video that is well mowed was not mowed, and they had little paths to the barn and then little paths to the well. And a lot of her family is buried in this next cemetery I'm going to, and she's just an amazing lady. And today I talked to her and told her about, I hadn't seen her since last October, so I got to fill her in on all my stuff going on in my life, and she filled me in on stuff. But it's neat to know somebody whose family used to live here before they turned it back into, because see, it got into private hands after it wasn't a fort, and then it got the state of Oklahoma bought the fort, and oh yeah, now I'm under shade tree. So the state of Oklahoma bought the fort, and then the Historical Society did, and then a few years later they sold it to the Chickasaws, and they have taken over the fort. So it's just the most amazing, beautiful place. So alright, so we arrived at the next cemetery that I wanted to show you. I have arrived. Your destination is in front of you. So this is a private family cemetery here at Fort Washita. And so I thought I'd bring you out. This is the one thing I haven't really showed you here at the fort yet. So, yeah. So this was a Robert Swink. He was a U.S. Air Force, World War II. And this is still a live cemetery. What I mean by that is we still have people being buried here. The lady I was telling you about earlier, they're going to be buried in here with their relatives. So they still have fairly old cemetery graves and some new ones. Martha Stewart, she was born, the year the Civil War started, in 1861, and died in 1934. I do love going to cemeteries. I love going with friends, but sometimes I'm great with going by myself and just exploring and taking you guys along with me. So here's another one, born in 1861, died in 1938. Wow. They're born in Arkansas. So now I do know I think this may be the family name, Lamar or Loper. I don't remember for sure of my friend's family. It could be, I don't know, I'll have to look around. But anyway, this is the Colbert family. Now, the Colbert family, I don't know a lot, but I do know the town of Colbert We have a town not near here called Colbert, which is probably named after this family. This is a memorial to, Charlie Colbert, his wife, Abel Davis Colbert, and their children. This memorial is erected. Charlie Colbert was born on May 20th, in 1963 at Colbert, Indian Territory. He died on June 13th, 1955. His wife, Abel, was born in 1877 and died in 1955. Let's see what else it says. Charlie came to Fort Washita with his parents as a youth and lived most of his life here with his father, James Albert Colbert. Came to the Indian Territory over the Trails of Tears in the early 1930s. His mother's maiden was Madeline Forson, who was born in Ingletown, Indian Territory. He held the office of Auditor of the Chickasaw Nation. It doesn't actually say that the town of Colbert was named after him, but maybe. Who knows? Anyway, that's a beautiful. But this is the Colbert family here. Let's see what this says. Yeah, this has got the Great Seal of the Chickasaw Nation. No, Choctaw Nation. Sorry. This is owned by the Chickasaws, but actually they were Choctaw. Rosanna Lewis, mother of 3. So, it's really pretty out here. Pretty and peaceful. I'll tell you about this trailer. I was out here the day at Fort Washita. So when they sold, the Oklahoma Historical Society sold the fort to the Chickasaws, the Oklahoma Historical Society took a lot of the stuff with them, like the cannon. So Fort Washita had to buy a new cannon. And I was here the day that new cannon arrived. It came all the way down here from, I don't remember now, but it came in this trailer. And it was used by the Cushion Taylor's Battery. So it was one of their cannons. I'm actually friends on Facebook with one of them that used to have this. And so they sold this cannon to Fort Washita. I know the cannon's not here today, so they must have bought another trailer. But I remember that day, and it was a lot of fun getting to see them roll out the new cannon that came from a group of reenactors up north. So let's see what we got here. Yeah. General W.B. Belknap. He died on November 10th of 1951. That's kind of cool. A lot of the buildings here, not all of them, but a lot of them, some are reconstructed, some were just lost to time. This was the Post Cemetery from 1842 to 1872. So there were some soldiers also buried in here too. It is a very hot day to be cemetery hopping today. Sacred in the memory of Charles Sutter. He died on September 20th, 1855, age 32. That was young. Well, today's day it was young. I don't know about back then. Men, had to do a lot of work, and, there's war and all kinds of crazy things like that back then. So, of course, there's war now too. So as you see, there were buildings here, and now they're gone. But each rock does have we're getting some visitors, but each rock does have a marker telling you what each building was. So there's the Madison family. Massey family. Now, in our town, Masseys are a big name. Probably not related to this Massey, but still kind of interesting. So, let's see if this one says anything. Oh, it does. It's backwards. Glover, Cleveland, Van Hoss, Texas. It must have been the Texas, maybe the cavalry. Private 135, deport, died October 8th of 1918. So, I am going to wrap up the cemetery so these people can come out and enjoy the cemetery. And I want to show you this, read over here on the sign what these buildings were for you. That one's a neat one too. So, oh, they're not even going to get out. They're like, it's too hot. But yeah, sign's gone, so I'm not sure. I do know the hospital, I think, is down this road of buildings. So, anyway, they did not stay. So we'll walk up here and look around a little more before I melt. Oh, you gotta love Oklahoma. One day it's raining, next day it's so hot you can't stand it. Fanning, their last name is Fanning, born in October of 1897, died in 1919. 1919. Seems like something important happened in 1919 American history, but my brain is going blank. So anyway, this is the beautiful private cemetery at Fort Washita. So if you ever get a chance to come out to the fort and look around. So yes, I do not see this. So this is the family, because I do not see the other name I thought it might be. I know it starts with an L. So this up here has to be the family of my friend that I was telling you about earlier in the video. But very cool. And as you can see, they got plenty of room to bury more people and family descendants. I think pretty much the only people buried here are people that are descendants of people already buried here. But I don't know that for sure. Who doesn't love a beautiful sunflower? So y'all, thank you for coming out, liking my video. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and share my video. And I will share some more history with you. History is just a big part of my life, but history is so fascinating. I'm a little out of breath. Probably need to lose some weight. No, really just the heat, I think, more than anything. But because I'm sweating. What we do for our YouTube videos. Anyway, history is so fascinating. You go from like the Revolutionary War, to the Civil War, to World War I, World War II. Even now, it's crazy. The politics that are going on and just the history and the things happening in the world. For years, I was a huge fan of just Civil War history. But when I started my history page on Facebook called Vintage History, if you haven't come join my Vintage History page on Facebook, please do. Just type in Vintage History and like it. I started doing a lot of research on World War II, and I'm just fascinating, even with World War II history. So I got a lot of places I want to show you. In about 3 or 4 weeks, I am going to Turner Falls in the Arbuckle Wilderness and up in the middle of Oklahoma. So I should get some good videos there with my family. And so stay tuned for that. Thank you for joining me on my Fort Washita video, and I hope you have a great day. Get out, discover some history. We got lots of great history in America. Tell me what your favorite history places are to visit in the comments below, and have a great, blessed day.